Hey guys, insight number 2. I'll try and keep this one a bit shorter. So we're in Mormon chapter 2, verses 18 and 19, and then chapter 3, verse 12 is the ones I've pulled out for this. So again, we're talking about how you can follow Christ regardless of what others do around you, because it applies to Mormon here and it applies equally, if not more, to us today. So it starts off in 18 where it says, upon the plates of Nephi I did make a full account of all the wickedness and abominations, but upon those plates I did forbear to make a full account of their wickedness and abominations. For behold, continual scene of wickedness and abominations has been before mine eyes, ever since I have been sufficient to behold the ways of man. And I feel the same way. I grew up in really rough things. I said in insight number 1, I have good people, like my grandparents were fantastic. My mum's a lovely lady. I went to schools that had some nice people and some of these people that he would be describing here, public schools. Even when I went to a church high school, there were still people that were anti-Christ like this. And I feel for him in the sentence, like, a continual scene of wickedness and abominations has been before mine eyes ever since I have been sufficient to behold the ways of man, as for as long as I can remember, it's been an ugly life and an ugly world. But I'm still going to choose Christ, and I'm still going to choose joy, and I'm still going to choose happiness and hope and His gospel and believe in that. So how do we do that? 19 is really lovely too. He says, and woe is me because of their wickedness, for my heart has been filled with sorrow because of their wickedness all my days. Nevertheless, I know that I shall be lifted up at the last day. And it's going to be kind of sad to know that, he's thinking, he obviously had a good wife. We don't know her name because they had the lovely Moroni and probably some other children. So there was a little niche of goodness in there, and I would say some of the women and children that you hear about in these chapters being slaughtered and used as sacrifices, not all of them would have been terrible. Some of those children could have been lovely kids. We don't know, but the people in general were just not good. And, in verse 19 we see how Mormon was filled with sorrow, yet he maintained hope at the same time. I know I'm going to be lifted up at the last day. I would just love it if some of these people came with me. I mean, that's what I'm saying. His wife, really good. If they raised Moroni to be Moroni, then his wife was probably a really decent lady. And, to be married to someone like Mormon who has this huge responsibility and away all the time leading armies, that was a hard life. I would say she'd be having a lot in common with Emma Smith, and they probably had some great discussions. But why do you think this is? How can you do this? How can you live in this kind of world and still maintain that hope in Christ at the same time? It's not easy, but sometimes it is the one thing that saves you. And I know for me, it was the one thing that saved me, was knowing that Jesus was real, that He was on my side, and that He would always provide. And He always has, and He always did, and He always will. So no matter how ugly it gets, I know that I'm not alone. I know that there is a way. It might not be my thinking or my way, but there is a way. And I tend to find that. I'll figure that out. I'm very much here's a challenge, I'm going to figure it out. And I'll have my cry, and I'll have my moments, and I'll stand up, pick myself up again, and be like, right, let's get at this. Because I know Jesus is yoked with me, and I'm yoked with Him. So we can do this. That's how I do it. But it isn't easy. It's something I've had to learn. But it has been my one saving thing, was my hope in Christ. Before I even had testimony of, or really even knew about Joseph Smith, or I'm talking like when I'm 2 and 3 years old, I knew I had hope in Christ. I knew Jesus was real. And that's a blessing I think I was given to be able to get through that part of my life and what was coming. But whatever time that you discovered that, right, you hang on to that. So Mormon loved his people even though they continued in such terrible behavior. How did he do this? How do you love people that continue to engage in behavior like that, and when it hurts you, but you still love them? Well, you just do. You love them because you asked to love them and see them as Jesus does, and it helps a whole lot. If you can love them and see them like Jesus does, then you see the good in them, and you see the possibility of change. You see that they're not like evil. You can see good things. it is, again, tricky, but it can be done. And how can we do this better? Well, we've got to pray about it, and we've got to work on it, and we've got to do it daily, and we've got to remember to speak kinder and be nicer. When we engage with these people that seem to like we care about but just cause so much problems, whether it's a family member or a neighbor or a work colleague, you got to really think about, actually, I could let this go, this one's not important, and if it is important, have a talk with them, but do it on a nice, calm level. Don't raise your voice, no yelling. It's and love them, because loving someone is never a waste. It is based on the person you want to be, not the outcome of someone else's life. So you love them anyway, no matter what they do, because loving them is who you are, not what they do. Sacrifice and service done properly is unconditional love. And it's just such a beautiful thing to really love somebody like that. So I hope you can take that on board and really think, because you've probably got somebody you're thinking about going, it is particularly hard to love that person, and yes, they do hurt me, and sometimes it's a lot of misunderstanding. It's not necessarily something that you've done, but something they've misunderstood and thought you've done. It could be just that you've had to create a healthy boundary, and you know, I have family members like that I have to create a healthy boundary with and keep them at a certain distance because of their toxic living, the decisions that they've made. Currently, they're actually all doing really, really good, but I'm still not about to let them know my address or my phone number, because the moment it goes bad, then it comes back on me, and I can't deal with that and being unwell at the same time. So, but I still love them, because loving them, and when I see them, I talk to them, we're happy, we'll meet somewhere that's not my house or their house, and, you know, we're good. It's a good relationship that way. It's actually healthier and stronger, and we're able to, as I say, loving someone's never a waste, because loving them is how I want to be, not regardless of whatever they choose to do. I'm still going to love them, and that's a Christ-like love. So there you go. Anyway, hope that helps. There's probably someone in your life that you're thinking, yeah, there's that person. It's like, we'll try it there. Anyway, hang around. We're going to talk, we're back in Moroni 2, but we're just going to talk about different topics. So we're Moroni 2, 10 to 15 in the next one. I'll see you there.